Okay, so here's another journal that I'm recording way too late. I'd still like to do these on Mondays, but maybe not at night, or maybe I'm procrastinating too much and I'm getting to them too late. But, anyways, for this one, I do have a specific topic, and that's A/B testing. It's a new feature YouTube has rolled out for titles and thumbnails, and if you're like me, this is a dream come true. This is the kind of feature that, YouTube's always changing things, and a lot of times it's like, why are they even doing this? But this is the kind of feature that I've really been waiting for. So with other videos, I would change the title and change the thumbnail, as I discussed many times throughout these journals, and I'd try to see what the result was. If it would get more views and stuff. And there's one occasion that always stands out to me. I think there might have been a few other times where changing the thumbnail did make. Well, yeah, there were definitely other times where changing the thumbnail made an impact. So what this does is that it sort of automates the process. Instead of having one title, YouTube gives you 3 different titles for your video. And I don't know how it all works behind the scenes, but basically they see which one performs the best. Now, maybe what they're doing is they're showing a certain demographic or certain random group of people one title, and then they're showing the next group of people another title, and just seeing what gets clicked on more. I don't know how exactly it works, but it's really cool, and you can also do it with thumbnails. So instead of just having one, you can have 3 different thumbnails. Now, if you don't do this kind of stuff as a creator, you probably have at least noticed some YouTube videos you like will change, or YouTubers you like will change their thumbnails over time. Well, this is probably what they're trying to do. They're trying to gauge what thumbnails perform the best. And you can also basically combine title and thumbnail combos. So you can have you're going to have 3 options all the time, but let's say you want to go with the 2 same thumbnail styles twice, and then a 3rd thumbnail style, but change the title for each entry, if that makes sense. You could do that. It's really cool. And one of the neat things with this is this last video, me and my brother did it together, and I tried to get him more involved in the process. I thought outside of the box. I'm like, why don't I get him doing some of the thumbnail work too? And we worked on Canva. With Canva, you can work collaboratively, even remotely. You can both edit the same project. So we just got on there. We came up with some ideas, and he came up with something, or we sort of settled on the basic design, but we were kind of going through the backdrop colors and seeing what looked better, and he settled on something that I absolutely wouldn't have gone with. To me, it looked a little off. It didn't look quite as professional as I thought it should, but I was like, you know what? That was basically like, well, let's see whose design does better, and his did. And I think it wasn't like it crushed the other design, but it did significantly better. And it's cool to have this feature now, because before it would have been either having to go in there manually, or you might not even get around to doing something like that, especially once you move on to a new video. And it's just hard to track the analytic data of what thumbnail is performing better. There have been a few videos where the change is so obvious that technically it could have been something other than the thumbnail. It could have been more exposure, but most likely it was probably the thumbnail. It's something I've thought about going back, maybe testing it on a few of the older videos. I don't know how all of that works. I know some audience members might find that might seem a little skeezy, because it might look like to them you're trying to market an old video as new. But at this point, I'm just rambling. Mainly want to talk about that new A/B testing feature. I think it's really cool. I think it's one of the best features YouTube have rolled out for creators that I can remember. Yeah, I'm sure there have been other good ones, and they've just kind of become normal at this point, so I don't think of them. But it's really cool, and I know there was some other stuff I plan to talk about for next week, but we'll see when I get there.